Not many people understand what it takes to make nationwide telephone service possible. Most just take it for granted that they can pick up their phone any time of the day or night and dial.
Hello.
Hello. Norway store.
Barbershop, Barry.
Hello.
Barker's Auto Sales.
Hello. Hello.
Hi, Norma.
Daddy, it's so good to hear from you.
Nice to talk to you. How do I sound?
Terrific. Why?
I just got a new phone.
Placing a telephone call is so simple that it's easy to underestimate what it takes to make that call possible. To have nationwide telephone service requires the ability to connect together on demand any two of the over 170 million phones in this country, a possible 14 million billion connections.
I promise I'll call you more often.
Gee, thanks for calling. It really meant a lot to me.
It's no simple task, connecting a nation. Because of the unique nature of nationwide telephone service and of the unique delivery system it requires, comparisons are nearly non-existent. There are other services, such as electric power, that the public expects to be universally available.
Right. Yeah, I've got the motor out now.
Well, what'd you take the motor out for?
Probably in the top switch.
But no other public service requires the capability of providing a two-way electronic connection between every household and office in the country.
Is the top switch.
Okay, hold on.
This guy is unbelievable.
All right, I see the top switch.
Nationwide telephone service is not like transportation services. There are no timetables. The customers set the schedules. And telephone service must provide not just city to city, but door-to-door connections, even to remote rural locations.
Hello.
Yeah, Ma?
Is that you, son?
Yeah, it's Jimmy.
How are you?
I'm fine. I had a really nice flight. Yeah. Everything went all
Telephone
right.
users make no
Nice.
reservations.
How you doing?
They won't tolerate standbys or delays. They expect to pick up a phone and call anywhere, anytime, and without delay.
Send 'em my love. I love you both. You know that.
Okay, and we love you too now. Be careful. Goodbye.
Because it is interactive, nationwide telephone service is not like a postal service. Although it carries messages, it does not simply deliver them from one point to another.
Hello? Holly? It's Chris. Chris, how are you? All right, I got your letter today. You did? It was so good to hear from you. I could hardly wait to get home and call you. To tell you the truth,
Telephone service must establish and continuously maintain a clear path over which a steady flow of communication can travel, both ways.
Bring a few things with you. We'll go out on the town.
No, I'm going to wear the red tonight.
Nationwide telephone service also requires a high degree of interdependence among the components of its delivery system. A faulty electrical appliance in one house will not affect service to the house next door, nor will it affect electrical service to other homes across the country.
Operator?
Yet a malfunctioning communications device or a blockage in a switching center as far away as New York City can have a direct impact on a customer in California.
Atlanta, Georgia. I'm really having problems getting through. Terrific. I really appreciate it. Thanks.
The nature of nationwide telephone service is uniquely dynamic.
Yeah, he did. That's good. And you just got him out of the yellow pages? Yeah.
Well, it's $40 minimum. It could be
3 million people may be using the telephone system at this moment. 5 minutes from now, a new pattern of 3 million different callers will be using the system. Because of these types of changes, the nationwide telephone system is not like a highway system. When there are traffic jams or equipment roadblocks between 2 points, telephone messages must be sent without any delay or extra charge across alternate routes. Those routes themselves must be reconfigured continuously to accommodate the dynamic nature of telephone service, which fluctuates hourly, daily, seasonally, and geographically. Telephone connections and interchanges cannot be set in concrete. As new customers are added and calling volumes grow, the system must be enlarged. As calling patterns shift, the system must be reconfigured. As new technologies emerge and new services are developed, the system must be modified. And while all of this extraordinary amount of change occurs on a continuous basis, the telephone system must continue to operate, handling more than 600 million calls a day. The nationwide telephone system can never be shut down for repairs or construction.
Connecting a nation is a task comparable to the most complex space venture. The unique nature of nationwide telephone service, as well as its importance to the nation, demands a coordinated effort, a systems approach. As with any other system, a system to provide nationwide telephone service requires two basic elements. A physical system, capable of electronically interconnecting every telephone in this country, as well as reaching almost every other telephone in the world. And an organizational system, with both the authority and the ability to operate, control, and change the physical system to stimulate its use and to respond to customers' needs. The physical system that makes nationwide telephone service possible today is a delicately balanced and carefully orchestrated electrical system, which connects every city and hamlet and almost every office and home in the nation. Now, this physical system accomplishes two main purposes: transmission and switching. Transmission facilities provide the communications pathways that carry conversations, computer data, television programs, and a variety of other types of messages. The simplest example of a transmission system is the pair of copper wires that end up in your telephone. A coaxial cable is a more complex system that carries messages underground. It can carry up to 132,000 conversations at the same time. Radio relay systems account for a good percentage of the long-distance transmission systems today. Some calls are sent into space and bounce back off a communication satellite. But most calls stay here on Earth and travel across microwave radio links. You've probably seen antennas on tops of buildings or mountain peaks or tall towers. The telephone industry is currently beginning to use light as a transmission system. It's called light wave. Laser-generated pulses of light are sent through glass fibers as thin as a human hair. Switching interconnects the transmission lines of the calling party to the line of the party being called. And without switching, there would have to be direct transmission paths between every telephone within the network. Switching calls between transmission links at central switching points allows users to share the facilities. And it also dramatically reduces the number of transmission lines needed to operate the network. There are more than 20,000 switching centers of varying sizes in the network today. Many of them are the local central offices into which most phones are connected. The most advanced type of switching center in use today can handle over 500,000 long-distance calls every hour. In an instant, you can tell where a call is coming from, where it's going, and how it's going to get there. They test the lines for busy conditions before establishing the connection, and they check the condition of the circuit throughout the call. In order to be able to do so much in such a short period of time, all of the switching centers must be able to talk to each other, passing information back and forth. The language that switchers use to talk to each other is called signaling. Signals enable the network to react intelligently every time a customer picks up the phone. Another important aspect of the physical system is the ability to program it, like a computer. A call from Buffalo to Tampa, for example, can travel over as many as 8 different alternate routes. If the first choice, the most direct route, isn't available, the network automatically selects the next best route that's been programmed. The network is programmed with alternate routes to handle calling volumes during the busiest hours of an average day. But telephone traffic can fluctuate dramatically. Human intervention is often necessary to reroute traffic on the network. Unusually heavy early morning traffic along the East Coast can be switched through California, where most callers are still sleeping. Also, within metropolitan areas, evening or weekend calls can be handled through downtown switching centers, which are idle because of the lull in business calling. When emergencies arise and unforeseen surges of calling occur, this ability to manually balance traffic loads allows the network to respond in a coordinated fashion. A rush of incoming calls to the site of a disaster can be blocked out to maintain essential services for authorities and residents of that area. When a tornado or some other set of circumstances knocks out a major transmission route, backup circuits can be used to restore service.
Hi, American. It was Missy. We were cut off. I'm sorry.
This kind of responsiveness doesn't just happen. Operating the network on a day-to-day basis, as well as responding to emergencies, requires a plan and a team to carry out that plan.
Today, the organizational system is a working partnership between the Bell system and more than 1,500 independent telephone companies. A partnership working toward a mutual goal of providing efficient, nationwide telephone service. Although many separate companies are involved, the nationwide telephone system is provided and managed as an integrated whole, as indeed it must be. For if there is to be nationwide telephone service, certain functions must be performed consistently throughout the system. For example, each telephone has to have its own number, sort of an address, so that it can be recognized by all the switchers in the whole network. Organizing all that's what's called the numbering plan. It's got to be consistent throughout the network so that each switching center knows which digits in a number are intended for its use and what action it's supposed to take in response to them. When additions or changes are made to the numbering plan, the switchers have to be told about them. Now, some changes, like this job, require modification of just one switcher. Other changes, like adding a whole new 3-digit prefix to the network, requires modification of many of the switchers. Well, when you consider there are about 20,000 of them, and that over half of them are provided by independent telephone companies like this one, well, then you can begin to see what a big job it is to keep up with. Hi, Lisa. And you can't change the plan one switcher at a time either, or a lot of calls will get lost. Changes have to be coordinated so that they can take place almost simultaneously. You know how the switchers have to signal each other to get calls through? Well, someone has to coordinate that, too, to make sure they're all talking the same language. Once the switching centers have determined the transmission path that a call is to follow and made the connection, you still have to make sure that the two parties will be able to talk to and hear each other normally, which isn't as easy as it might seem. A given call may travel over thousands of different combinations of transmission links. Each link is individually designed to meet certain performance standards. Let me give you a couple of examples. One of these standards sets a limit on the amount of noise that can be tolerated in each individual link. Another standard measures the loss of sound at the receiving end. There are many other performance standards which each and every transmission link in the network must meet. The quality of a call is a composite of the performance of all of the transmission links used to make the connection. If there is to be consistency in transmission quality from one call to the next, there must be tight controls on the criteria used to design each transmission link, and limits must be established on how many of these links can be used to connect a single call. It is the coordinated transmission plan of the network that prevents unacceptable changes in transmission quality in a call to a next-door neighbor or to a friend over 2,000 miles away. Just as there is a need for coordination in planning and building the network, there is also a need for cooperation in maintaining it. Often, equipment malfunctions will produce unacceptable performance many miles away from the physical location of the equipment. and the malfunction may not be readily detectable at the site of the problem. Therefore, those who monitor the performance of the network and those who maintain it must cooperate to ensure satisfactory service.
Got a transmitter-receiver alarm. Yep, looks like it took a switch. I guess we'll have to get somebody out there. Alrighty. Who's this? Okay, Bob, this is Dan. Thanks a lot.
There must also be a coordinated approach to handle the growth and changing calling patterns of the network, which means that adequate facilities must be in place to handle customer demands whenever and wherever they materialize. This requires a forecasting system which looks far enough ahead to allow for the long lead time required to design and construct new facilities. A coordinated plan is required to ensure that all customers have access to supplementary services, such as operator handling and directory assistance. And when emergency conditions arise, there must be predetermined, coordinated plans to handle rerouting and restorals. And someone must have a clearly defined authority to carry out these plans. Without these procedures, network management could be reduced to a hit-or-miss proposition. All of these responsibilities and many more have to be planned and performed uniformly throughout the entire network to ensure nationwide telephone service.
It's not physically or economically feasible to make rapid, sweeping changes in the nationwide telephone network. The interactive nature of the network, combined with its size, requires a long-range plan for the introduction of each new technology, operating procedure, or service. The plan must provide for an effective evolution so that the new equipment can work with the old as the network is continually modernized. As an example, changing the network from operator-handled calling to direct distance dialing required a master plan, which literally took years and billions of dollars to implement. New systems being installed today are changing the very nature of the network and the services it provides. They are the major elements in an evolution to an all-electronic, software-based, stored program control network. Such a network could provide a single nationwide 911 emergency system, which would route calls for help automatically to the emergency unit closest to the caller.
Well, thank God I found a phone booth.
Customers will be able to program this network to provide customized individual services, such as a distinctive ringing tone for priority calls.
Hello?
Happy birthday, Daddy.
Automatic collect calls accepted from pre-selected numbers.
I miss you, Dad.
Yeah, me too. Hey, did you get that message I sent you last week?
Even storage and forwarding of messages.
It's strange to hear your voice when I know you're really playing golf.
This network of the future and the services it'll provide simply cannot be implemented without an integrated, coordinated, nationwide approach.
Although it provides many different types of services, there is physically only one system that reaches from a single telephone in Eagle Valley, Colorado,
And he sounded fine. They're going to keep in touch with us.
all the way up to the National Network Control Center in Bedminster, New Jersey.
Well, I'm glad you did call. It's always good to hear a
Billions
voice.
of dollars, millions of people, a vast network designed, built, and operated to meet the singular challenge of connecting a nation.
Congratulations, Mr. Coleridge. Now, is there anything else I can do for you? What'd you say? Oh, we close at 5. It's now 2 o'clock. Is it your idea to bring all these pieces here to me, or are you going to try and work on it now? Well, do the best you can.